Hi everybody, welcome back to Real Life Reboot. I'm Lance and this is Steffi, and this is our page where we're giving you guys weekly tips to help us all get our crap together.
Yep.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the law of attraction and the movie The Secret. And the law of attraction basically states that like attracts like, and what you think about is what you bring into your life. And watching the movie The Secret, talks all about the law of attraction. That was last week's homework, and it explains that concept very, very well, and gives some really, really amazing stories about people who have used The Secret to manifest good things in their life. And so we're going to talk more about that today.
Yes. Hi, Laura. Actually, this is really funny. Today, I've been thinking a lot about different stories where we have seen the law of attraction in our life and different things I wanted to share. So like all day I've been thinking about the law of attraction, and I thought this was kind of funny that it was in full display, I guess, today.
Yeah.
So I logged onto Facebook and I was going to share a couple posts about meeting up tonight, and I saw a news went live. And normally I don't get sidetracked by that stuff, and it said something about red carpet, and this is how out of touch I am with Hollywood. I didn't even know. I was like, red carpet, what are they talking about? And so I clicked on it because I was curious. Well, it was the Oscars, and I didn't even know that they were on. And I actually started watching it for a while because there was a girl on there that looked like a girl that I met in Nicaragua, and I thought it would be funny to tag her in it. So I'm like, trying to tag her, and I'm on there for quite some time. And they started interviewing. Can you bring up those texts for me?
Sure.
They started interviewing this lady named, what was her name? Do you remember?
Her last name was Warren.
Diane Warren, I think. I think her name is Diane Warren. But anyway, she's a songwriter, and they said to her, hello, congratulations for being nominated. We're so excited that you're here, blah, 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 blah. And her response was not like, oh, I'm so excited that I'm here, or, oh, thank you so much, or I'm so excited for the movie, or anything. Her response was, yeah, but I'm probably not going to win. Mm-hmm. That was her response to the lady that was interviewing her about her Oscar nomination. And I thought, that was strange. And then she continued to kind of visit with her and talk about how amazing her song was. And then she said, yeah, I've been here several times. And, it's Lady Gaga is also nominated, so she'll probably take it. I'm probably not going to win. Like, she was almost trying to convince herself that she wasn't going to win. And so I thought it was super interesting that happened right today when I'm looking. It's stuff for The Secret and the Law of Attraction, because it is all about your negative voice versus your positive voice and what that can bring into your life. And so I was curious, and so I went and looked this lady up. Okay, so not only has she been there before, but she had been to the Oscars and nominated 10 times, 10 different times, and had never won. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. So maybe the songs that she wrote were like
some shabby stuff,
some random stuff that nobody heard of. This is her song list, you guys. Okay. Here it is. Okay, so she was nominated for Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. This is going to date me, but you guys remember the movie Mannequin? I mean, that song still gets played. She was nominated for Because You Love Me, which is Celine Dion. Mm-hmm. Amazing artist singing her music. How Do I Live from Con Air, which was a huge hit. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Armageddon.
Aerosmith. Yeah,
Aerosmith. Come on. And then several other songs I didn't recognize. One was from Pearl Harbor, which was a huge movie. Yeah. So she is in, what's the word? She's in the group of winners already.
Right.
She's obviously an amazing songwriter. She has amazing artists that sing in her music, and she's still, although she's been nominated 10 times, she's never ever won. And the first thing out of her mouth was, when they said congratulations, we're so happy you're here, was, I'm probably not going to win. Mm-hmm. And I thought, how fitting that I saw that tonight when I was looking for that. And then in contrast, this is something else that happened today while we were working on this, was I hope I don't ruin anything, but if you guys have watched the movie, what's the movie called that I love?
The show?
Help me, the girl from Mandy Moore.
Oh, her dad is game.
This is the game we play. I give him the details and he gives me the answer.
This Is Us.
This Is Us, yes, okay. So if you guys watch that movie or that show, you know the part when the dad passes away.
I haven't seen it yet.
But I've already talked about this.
All right.
But he passes away because of a crock pot a fire. It sounds so crazy. Well, I have
Doesn't
been.
cry us away because of a crock pot.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, from a fire from a crock. Okay. So I was kind of stressed out about that, and like I've been telling him for the last few weeks. I'm like, make sure you unplug stuff. Make sure you unplug stuff. We've been unplugging our coffee and everything.
And we crock pot a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Like I'm
every
always
single
got
week.
something in the crock pot. So I've always got it running.
And then like I started smelling plastic burning. I'm like, oh, what's that? What does that mean? So I'm getting on Google, and of course, don't ever do that. And they're like, electricity
Your crock pot's on
problems.
fire.
And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there could be a fire. Da, da, da. So today I am like thinking so negatively the last 3 weeks about fires and crock pots and blowouts. And we're prepping today because we do it on Sunday. And Lance plugs in the crock pot, and like 5 minutes later, it literally explodes. Like there is like a ball of fire. It was like this big. It goes pow.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was super, super scary.
Yeah.
But it just shorted out. But I'm just the contrast of those two stories of what
Yeah.
negativity you can bring into your
How
life.
you can manifest things in your life negatively and positively. This one, in particular, negatively, by what you put out there, what you think about. And what you think about is what you're going to bring into your life. And here in about 6 minutes, you're going to hear a beep. That's the replacement to the crock pot.
Yeah, because
got
we had to drive to
Yeah.
Quincy to buy a new crock
We
pot.
got an
Okay.
Instapot, by the way.
So,
Let's get one.
law of attraction
Okay.
is basically like all the other scientific laws you've heard about.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So universal laws that you've heard about, like the law of cause and effect. I mean, everybody knows the law of cause and effect. What you reap is what you sow. If you go out drinking all night, the next day you're going to have a hangover. If you are going to be going to McDonald's and putting that stuff in your body, eventually you're going to gain weight and you're going to feel unhealthy. So cause and effect is a law of the universe. Laws of nature, like gravity. Everybody knows that gravity is a thing, and that two objects, science people, two objects that have mass have a gravitational pull and they pull towards each other. All right, so these are things that work in the realm of the universe, and just like those laws, the law of attraction works as well. People have been recognizing this for a very long time.
But yeah, I would say people have been using that forever. So I'll give you a name that
I like that quote, Karen.
Yes, actually, that is a quote. See, you just secreted that quote right up. That is a quote from Ford. And it's, if you think you can or you think you can't, you are right, whichever you think. And that is exactly true. I was actually going to tell you that same exact quote. Jack Canfield, who is the author of all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, which you guys I'm sure have heard of or read, he actually was making, if you saw this in the movie, then this was one of our favorite parts. If you haven't watched the movie yet, you need to go watch it. But this was one of my favorite parts. I followed this guy for years. He was making, this is years ago, he was making about $8,000 or $10,000 a year, and he became introduced through one of his mentors about the power of positive thinking and what it can bring into his life. And he decided that he was going to say something really crazy. I'm going to make $100,000 this year, because he just wanted to test it out and probably a little doubtful. And so he made a $100,000 bill and put it on the top of his head, on the top of his bed up on his ceiling. And so you guys know that we talked about the resolutions and your schedule, put everything in front of you, how important that is. And so every morning he would see that, and nothing was happening. But I think he said about a month or two after that, he was standing in line at the, did he think about this? Oh, I remember how it went. Hold on. So he had written this book, his first Chicken Soup for the Soul book, and it hadn't sold. And he had a whole bunch of them in his shed, and he figured out, well, if I can get people to buy them for just $0.25, then I would have to sell this many, and I can make $100,000. That's my goal. So what happens with the power of positive thinking, when you put a goal out there and put that in front of you, you start thinking your way towards that. Mm-hmm. And so he's thinking, he came up with this. And then he's thinking, how can I sell this? How can I, of course there's no internet back then. There's no social media. How can I spread this word? And he was standing in line at the grocery store. And this is back when the Inquirer actually, you guys, used to be somewhat of a reputable newspaper. I remember we used to buy it. There's always gossip stories in it, but there were also real stories. Now it's just become ridiculous. But he was looking at that, and he said he never really had bought one or even noticed it so much, but he saw it, and he said, oh my gosh, if I could get them to run a story on this, everybody sees the Inquirer, lots of people buy it, man, I could sell it. So he goes to this speech. He does a speech at a college or something. I can't remember the details. Mm-hmm. A little bit later, this lady comes up to him and says, oh, I really loved your speech. I would really love to interview you. And so they introduce each other, and she gives him his business card and says, give me a call. And he says, well, where do you work? And she says, well, I'm a freelance journalist, but I sell most of my stories to the Inquirer. So that was like his first, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is what I've been thinking about. And anyway, she ended up writing the story. It ran, and then he ended up selling $100,000 worth of books that year. So that's my very favorite story. But that's from someone you know, and like Karen said earlier, if you think you can or you can't, you're right. That is a mindset. That was a quote from Ford. Even the Bible talks about this.
There's all kinds of biblical quotes. I mean,
well, I kind of want to mention something about this real quick.
Okay.
So, like a lot in the movie, if you've watched it, it talks about whatever you think about, you bring about, you put it out into the universe, it's going to come back to you, blah, blah, blah. As a Christian, at first I was like, okay, well, I don't believe in the universe. I believe in God. But here's the thing, you guys. Who created the universe? Like, who created the universe? Who created the law of gravity? Who created the law of attraction?
Right.
Who created all these laws? Those came from God. And the concept of the law of attraction, very simple, is ask, believe, and receive, which you all recognize that scripture, and that comes out of Matthew. So it has been used for centuries and centuries.
Yeah.
And it's a very positive and biblical thing.
Yeah. So what we wanted to talk about tonight, once we gave that introduction, is that in our society, a lot of us, our thoughts dwell in the negative. That's how our society is set up. Just get on to get onto the internet and just look at the news and everything that's been going on, everything that continues to go on, and it's all negative, negative, negative.
Social media for the most
Yeah,
part.
and so our thoughts are oftentimes, we're shown negative stuff, so we start thinking about negative stuff. But also, just even on a personal level, I think, I was never really given a whole lot of, I guess, positive thought mindset of like how to control my thoughts, and I never really thought that things were going to work out well for me. So like whenever I would go buy like a raffle ticket, instantly my thought would be like, well, I'm not going to win this thing, And I never really thought much about it until we started really studying The Secret and studying the law of attraction, which is I never won anything. I never won anything like that, and that's because the thought I was putting out there was that there's no way I'm going to win this, and so I just never did.
That reminds me, and I did the same thing, and you guys probably have too, where you buy something, you buy a raffle, or you sign up for a contest, and you think, I really want to win this, but I'm probably not going to win this. I remember one year when I went to Piccadilly with my girlfriend, we went and had margaritas first, and we just were like, we didn't care. We just were having fun, and we were very relaxed, of course, because we had margaritas. But we got there, and we were like, we're going to win everything. We've been saying all night, we're going to win so much stuff, and we had just kind of become a joke. We're going to win, we're going to win. I swear to you guys, I think I won like 11.
Yeah, I remember you saying
11 or 12.
You kept your name called.
Yes,
Awesome.
People were like looking around the room for, I think my number was 86. This has been a few years ago. But people were looking around, who the freak is 86? Because they literally called my name time and time and time and time again. It got to the point where it was like embarrassing, where I was like, okay, give it to someone else.
Yeah.
But I didn't think much of it at the time until you were just talking about that story. But that is the contrast of you go in saying I'm not going to win versus I'm going to win everything. Like just changing your mindset really does make a difference.
And so we don't want you to think this is like anecdotal, like, oh, okay, you won a couple contests or you didn't win a raffle. What we're wanting to really talk about and concentrate on is, and the whole point of our Real Life Reboot page is that the mind...
Reboot.
Yeah, is to
Reboot your mindset.
To reboot your mindset and to change it into something that is going to benefit you and something that is going to serve you in the positive. And that's like when we talked about your New Year's resolutions. We want you to not say, oh, I'm going to not drink this or not do this or stop doing this. We want to put it in a positive frame because you're wanting positive things to come into your life. And so we're framing those things in a positive, like this is going to happen for me. This is going to happen, and that's why we say we're going to get your schedule in front of you, so you're putting these positive changes in front of you so you can concentrate on what you want to do, what you want to get done. And that is, that's the most important part of rebooting is, and it goes along with this law of attraction, as you start to change your mindset into a positive frame of mind, those things are what you will start to focus on. Those are the things that you will bring into your life. And you'll see the changes very, 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 very quickly, and it builds on itself. just like negative builds negative, positive brings positive.
I want to share a quote with you guys. You might have seen it. I shared it earlier tonight, but I love this. It says, positivity is a choice, not a result. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to move on from your unhappiness. No person will make you happy until you decide to focus on positivity. Because the most pessimistic person can be given a fortune and still find something to complain about. Your happiness will not come to you. It can only come from you. You probably heard the quote, happiness is an inside job. This actually reminds me, if you guys ever saw the Oprah episode where there was like 10 different people maybe that were like so far in debt and had made so many bad choices, and she literally took them all out of debt and kind of got them on their feet, and then they went back and revisited these people several years later. They were right back to where they were. Because just kind of like what it says, the most pessimistic person can't change. If they haven't changed their mindset, it doesn't matter how many clean slates that you get.
Right.
Just like at the end of the year this year, there's going to be some of you that have stuck with this and done all this stuff, and you're going to see all these amazing changes. And some of the others of you that maybe this wasn't your year, and that's okay, you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I would have done that. But you get a clean slate, but that clean slate is never going to make a difference until you change up here.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Another thing that is really interesting about this is that your brain, whenever you're reprogramming, your brain doesn't know the difference between your thought and reality. And if you saw in the movie, they did a study with these Olympic sprinters, and they hooked them up to an EEG to watch their brains, the neurons in their brains fire, and then they had them sitting down, imagining the race that they were running, and had them close their eyes, and this is the race that I'm going to run, and the neurons that fired were the same neurons that would fire the muscles that would make your arms and legs move in a sprint. And so your brain didn't know, that it wasn't actually running, because once you were imagining what you were doing, it was the same process as whenever the actual race was being run. And so think about that. What could that mean for your brain if you're thinking about things, okay, in your brain is not saying, okay, well, that can't happen, or how are we going to do that? It just knows, okay, well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And so it's going to start firing and starting to make you do the things that will make the result happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, we've said a million times that you're a computer. That's what we have learned in like the habits that we have and the changes that we make. You're a computer. And so if you reprogram your brain and you start thinking positivity all the time, and start having, goals and looking at your goals and looking at your schedule and following that, but just thinking positive thoughts and thinking joy and peace, what's going to happen is your brain is going to be like, okay, so let's say, oh, I want to be successful. I want to have an amazing marriage. I want to have fabulous kids. I want to be healthy. If you're thinking that, your brain's going to be like, okay, let's go. Mm-hmm. Like your brain is going to go get it because it thinks it's happening. It thinks it's reality. And there's science behind it.
Yeah.
Literally. I know we say that every week. But
there is actual science behind it. And so what we want you to do, if you didn't get a chance to watch The Secret, go ahead and get that done this week. And then if you did do it, really start to apply, really be cognizant of the things you're thinking. Be cognizant of your frame of mind as far as like, am I worried? Okay, am I feeling worried? And everybody knows, the feeling you get in your chest, and the tense in your muscles whenever you're worrying about things. And then once you recognize where you are, then immediately change that to something else. Change that to a positive frequency. And think about what you would rather happen. What would you want? And you'll be amazed to see how these things start to manifest in your life. And once that happens, it becomes much easier to keep yourself in that positive frame of mind.
Yeah, for sure. When you're talking about worry, that reminds me, I learned that the way your body feels whenever you feel anxious or worried or stressed is the same kind of feeling that your body feels when you're excited. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact feeling. And so what they told me in this article that I read, and I've been doing this with my kids. Actually, Grayson preached her first sermon tonight, so that was really exciting. Mm-hmm. And she was super nervous. Oh, Mom, I'm so nervous. Anytime I have the opportunity, I remind her that energy and the way that feels is the same exact feeling as excitement. So just change your wording. oh my gosh, I'm so excited to preach this sermon. I'm so excited to share my story with these people. I'm so excited to be on stage. And it does kind of change your mindset.
Yeah.
It really, really does. So pay attention, like he said, to your thoughts and catch them early. Like if you guys did watch the movie, at the beginning of the movie, I think it talks about, you know, you get out of bed, you stub your toe, you burn your toast, and then the day just keeps unfolding like that, all negative. You have to stop it where it starts. So as soon as you start feeling bleh, or feeling like really negative or feeling toxic, like change your mindset and tell your brain, even if you don't feel good, say I feel great. Even if you do feel stressed, say I don't feel stressed. Say I feel, you know, I feel happy, I feel peaceful, I feel joy. And what's going to happen if you say, I feel happy, even when you don't feel happy? If you keep saying that over and over again, you're going to start feeling happy.
Fake it till you make it.
But fake it till you make it. That's right. Is that all you got, babe?
That's all I got.
So next week, we're going to keep talking about this for a little while because it's one of our favorite subjects. We're going to give you another week to watch it. Even if you've already watched it, watch it again. Because I would love to hear... Yes, Laura, I love that what you said. Laura says, as I listened to it, my mind kept changing universe to God. So yeah, if you need to do that to make it work for you, absolutely.
Yeah.
Watch it again and see what your takeaways are. Like we told you guys last week, we watched this movie. I geek out on more than he does. I probably watch it once a month, to be honest, or once every couple months, because you get something different from it every time, and it re-inspires you and remotivates you to apply it to your life. So go check it out. Be aware of your thoughts, change your thoughts, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more next week, about how to actually start applying it.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good week. Bye.